Focus Book Club is a brand which aims to bring out the best within you as well as rewarding you through it. But how exactly does it work? It'll be done in a series format. For example, the first series will be non-fiction books and the second series, fiction books, etc. Each series has 12 episodes which last 3 months, at the end of which we spend 2 more episodes to review all the recommended books, as well as to reward our faithful readers with various precious gifts. We therefore encourage you to follow us on our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or send us a text or an email. Simply comment on the book you're reading or you have read, and through commenting you have the chance to be invited to our live recording of the show during the review week. In addition to this, you will also be entered in a draw to win various prizes as a reward for your reading.
Welcome to another special edition of Focus Book Club. I want to remind you that our book for the month of February is Confronting Life. Confronting Life. Now, in this book, like I've been saying, it's talking about 7 questions on the minds of believers and non-believers. So, which means this book is for everybody. So, it's a book that everybody has to read. Remember, we have said that you could get it for free online. All you need to do is just Google it and then Amazon. There you get the Kindle copy, which is for free. If you want the hard copy, then it means you pay about, I think, £4. That's not too much. The information in this book is priceless. It's really important that you get this book for this month and read it. And I would also like to take your mind back to our first show where I explained that we will be having for the next 3 months, well, we've started that from January to the end of March, where we'll be treating books of non-fiction nature. So non-fiction books, these are the books we've been doing. After that, then we go to fiction. And at the end of the first series, we will be giving precious gifts to people that have been following us on the different media platforms. So make sure you are part of this. It's so good. We are all enjoying it. A lot of people are following, and I hope you are. Today, we won't really be talking about this book. Although we are all reading it, my guest has a copy already. A lot of people are reading it. On the 28th of this month, we will be doing a detailed review of the book. We probably come with the author, and then we now dissect the book again, or finally, before we introduce the book for March. But for today, there's something we'll be talking about. It's something that affects everyone. And that is, when I say everyone, I mean everyone who's got family, who's got children. Certainly, this affects everybody. It's about learning. Lockdown, how does the situation of lockdown affect the learning of your child, or affect your own learning as an adult if you are learning? So the topic of today is coping with blended learning. Coping with blended learning. I have a special guest today, and this person is very special because she's a teacher. So she's a professional. So she knows exactly what she's talking about. She will be here, she's already here. She's here to talk about blended learning. How our children or students around you, relatives, people that you know that are going through school, how they are coping, being at home, and they are expected to be good in what they are learning. So with me on the show today is Mrs. Okolo. She's a teacher, like I said before. She's actually a science teacher, so she teaches biology, chemistry, and physics. So you are one of those preparing our people to become doctors and pharmacists and nurses. To see how special you are. You're welcome to this show.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
God bless you. Mrs. Okolo, now can you introduce yourself one more? I know I have said your name, but is there something else you want to add to this introduction?
I'm a teacher, as you said, a secondary school teacher. I have been teaching in this country for quite a long time, over 15 years. And I was teaching in Nigeria before I came here. So I've only done teaching since I started my adult life.
Good.
Apart from being a teacher, I'm also a parent. So I've got children who are also in the same situation and going through this online learning and trying to make the best of it.
Good. Now, make the best of it. Make the best of it. That's actually why we are here. So, what do you think is happening? Can you explain to us exactly? You know, we're going to talk from the point of view of the students now because they are the ones going through this situation. Now, what do you think about the students? Do you think they are enjoying this?
It's not a case of one code fits all. As we are varied in ourselves as human beings, so our likes and dislikes also vary. So if you come to teaching and learning, a lot of students have different ways of learning. So some of them will cope better, some of them not at all. So there are some students who, if they have previously been those people who are good with independent work, then they will have an easier life with this new system of learning. But there are some other students who are what we call kinesthetic learners. They need hands-on. They need the practical aspect of it. They need the demonstration aspect of it. They need to see it happen for them to engage. And so for those group of students, it is going to be a little bit more difficult than for them. There are also some other students who learn just by reading and by listening to teachers. Those who learn by listening to teachers, they want to be seeing your mouth move and they're following your movement and so on and so on. That is important to them. So there are different ways, and so different people are coping differently. It's not one cap fits all.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Okolo. But there's something that kind of baffles me sometimes, what I can't get together. Now, you are a science teacher, and we know that in science, you need experiments, you need to, see things. I mean, that's what science is about. So how are they coping with the physics experiment? And, I remember when I was in school, I would want to get into the laboratory and, get some chemicals or see the way the teacher is doing it. How are they coping with that aspect?
Well, that is something we are all learning. So teachers are learning new techniques as well as the students. So as you rightly say, science has got quite a lot of practicals. And it's not just only science. There are other more technical subjects than science, actually. Things like photography or design and technology.
Practical things, yeah.
Those are actually more
art.
practical, or even fine art.
Yeah.
They're more practical. And that is those ones that students will really struggle more with. Now, coming back to the one you asked about science, yes, it's presenting challenges, but where challenges are, that's where innovations come in. And so teachers are having to look at different ways of doing things. So thank God for animations, thank God for videos, so you can record these practicals You can, because teachers are still going into schools. So if a teacher so wishes, you can go into school and record yourself doing this practical and then play it back. But if you don't want to do that, you have got channels that have all of these practicals already recorded.
Okay,
and
good.
so while you're doing your lesson, you bring this in. It's important that the students actually see those practicals happening.
Okay.
And when you get back into school, hopefully, not in the long term, we can then revisit some of the more difficult ones, because there are some that are you can easily get it by watching the video. Some of them still more difficult. You need to be able to actually see it.
Now, that was very good. Now, I've been able to get that, from what you have explained. Now, another $1 million question is this. How do we get the students that are home to read the way they should? Because, this is independent learning. What about a child who is in bed, for example, and he's in his separate room, the parents are not there, and he says he's studying, but he's actually on his phone, or he's actually talking to a friend or playing games under the blanket? So what can you just talk to such students, tell them how important it is to study, and how, I don't know, you will say it better.
That is another challenge, isn't it?
Yes.
Both for parents and students. But one thing I can say categorically to both parents and students is, it is not a holiday. We are not on holiday. School is on. It's on, but it's on in a different way. So, if you're a student, most schools, at least the one I work in, and that is what I believe most other schools are doing. There are some schools where every lesson is a live lesson.
Good.
The teacher is there teaching, and the students sign in. Some other schools do a proportion of these lessons as live, and the rest of them as independent online work. Again, every child has a timetable. School starts at a particular time. So, the same way that if we are going into the physical school, if your lesson starts at 9 o'clock, you're not in bed at 9 o'clock. So, it is the same alarm that you set for yourself that you also need to set. You need to get into that classroom at 9 o'clock. You need to make sure
like the normal school
time. And what I kind of said to my students is, we are not on holiday. As I said before, get up, have a bath, put on your school uniform. For some people,
Put on your school uniform?
For some people, that is a
get
stretch.
That now. Wow.
That is a stretch. But you're doing it to get yourself into that learning zone.
Wow.
But even if you don't want to put on your school uniform,
put on
get
some,
up,
at least take your bath.
Wash, take your bath, put on clothes, look smart.
Yes.
Because even we do lessons, we are not really allowed to do video lessons.
Can they do it in
put
bed?
Our video.
Can they do it in bed?
I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that. If there is a comfortable place where you have a small, even if it's not a very big table, a small place, sit up. But if you must do it in bed, assuming, because people have different situations, if there's no other place, if your room is your safe place where there is no noise, stay there, but sit up. Sit up. Be smart. Put on some smart clothes. Not in your pajamas. Although some people might be able to read in pajamas, but what we are saying is this is actually school time.
It's school time. It's not a holiday.
It's a school time. So get in the zone of being in a school.
Wow. You have heard the teacher. So it's not a holiday. It's a time to study, just like school. What about students who get up at 12 o'clock or 11 a.m. It's normally at school time, they are up 5 o'clock, get ready, they travel. They know that traveling will take them an hour or so to get to school. But now they just sleep. They even get up 11 a.m.
Well,
So they probably have missed some lessons.
definitely, definitely, because that again goes back to my last point,
Okay.
that you need to get yourself ready to go into. I mean, you have, like you said, you have 30 minutes, or some people have 1 hour to play around.
Yeah.
That is that 1 hour you should have been on the train or the bus
Yeah.
or walking to school. So, I mean, you can afford to wake up 30 minutes later than you previously because you're not getting out of the house.
Yeah.
But get up and make sure that you're there for your first lesson. Once you're able to attend that first lesson or registration, some schools do registration. Once you're there and get into that registration, I mean, you have already primed
Started the
yourself
day.
off for
Yeah,
the day.
Sure.
And then we're not saying read all through. Schools have also taken into account the break time,
Yeah.
the lunch time.
Yeah.
At those points, there's no work for you to do. At that lunch
can
time,
play.
you get off, and once that's allocated time for lunch or break, just leave the work. Go and get some fresh air. Go and make yourself a cup of tea. Do something else. Because if you're in school, you're not reading for the whole 8 hours or so we're in school. There is a break time as well.
One thing I've also noticed is this. Now, after school, normally, if it's the normal school time, after school, students get home, they take a snack, and some of them get back to reading. Now, does that eliminate that? Does that mean that because you're doing this blended learning, then, when you close 3 o'clock, when the teacher stops teaching you at 3 or 3:30, do you just say, okay, it's over for the day? Do you think there's a need for them to go back again to do some revision?
I mean, one thing we have to bear in mind is nobody is disputing the fact that this is a stressful situation.
Yes, it is.
It is challenging. And once we understand that it is a stressful challenge, then you can't be saying, oh, it's stressful. We already know it's stressful. So, again, what I would say is, give yourself a break. What I mean by that is, if you have put in the honest, your best effort,
sure.
you have followed your lessons,
Yeah.
you may not be able to do all the 100% work that teachers are setting for you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, aim for 80%, aim for 90% engagement. So some of those tasks, some weeks might be better for you than others.
Yeah.
And so if you have missed if you have engaged well but still missed some things, they are in these platforms that most schools are using, and the work doesn't get lost. So at some point, you can also go back and catch up on what you have missed. But again, nobody is saying read all through. Both the parents and the children, the parents also need to give themselves a kind of break. You're trying. Just make sure that you're putting your eyes into what the children are doing. We say they're all grown up, but children actually need to be told what to do. They want to be told what to do. So you need to look in and find out. You may not understand the work, but ask them, what have you done today? How is it going? And so on and so forth. Let them know that you know that they need to do some work. Yeah.
Now, recently, it was the Prime Minister who was talking about resumption date being anytime from the 8th of March. And I know he did say something along the line of encouraging extra tuition in school. So do you think that will be able to help with all this time that have been lost?
Extra tuition. If encouraging extra tuition in school,
you think
I'm not in the government, so I don't want to say anything about that. But is it the tuition that teachers are going to run for the students, or is it the one that parents are going to sign their children out of their own?
No, I think the government
money?
probably will be paying for extra tuition. But do you think that might add extra stress to teachers' work already?
If anything that is made, say, go and do this, governments give extra tuition. To be on, like I said, I don't want to get into the political,
Sure, of course.
this thing, but the situation we are in, like we've already acknowledged, is stressful for both students and teachers. Some people might say teachers are having they're not going to work, but it's actually more difficult trying to get this work in a way that the students will understand it without you. So you have to look at the lessons you already have planned before that you could just teach with a little adjustment. Now you have to rewrite it. You have to make sure that the students can actually follow it without you. So with extra tuition, whether the government is organizing it or you're doing private tuition, what I would say first is let the student do the work that their school is giving them. That one that you are not paying for. You're not paying for that.
Yeah.
The government has already paid the teachers. The teachers are giving you that. So make the best use of your teachers. Make the best use of what is provided in school. There are some students who would need extra tuition. And there's no problem if the parents decide to give them extra tuition. But children need to take advantage of the resources that the school has and is providing free for them.
Now, thank you very much. What about the primary schools? Do you think it's more challenging in the primary than in the secondary? Because most of the parents, let me say, many of them are working, but they have to sit with them. The secondary students, I mean, you can easily give them work. The primary, let's talk a little bit about them.
Well, it's been a long time my children were out of primary.
Yeah.
But again, primary school is, different categories. You've got the ones that are 6 years, the ones that are 7 or 8, and so on.
Yeah, sure.
So it depends. Like I said before, the parent, you've got your own job to do as well.
Yeah.
Most of parents are working from home.
Yeah.
You're not a teacher. You can't do the work that the teacher does while you are also doing your own work. So, get acquainted with the work your child is doing. Most schools are doing it on all these different platforms.
Yeah.
Get acquainted, familiarize yourself with those platforms so that you know what is happening there. Once your child gets into that, leave them. Because you don't have to sit with them. Because in the normal life, you don't go and sit with them in the classroom. So don't sit with them for
all the
whole hour while the teacher is talking.
Yeah, sure.
You need to, once you've directed them, take you pull back.
Yeah.
Let them get on with it. And if they're calling you mommy, 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 or daddy, 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 tell them, let the teacher finish this one. I will come and help you. Because you also have your own work where your bosses or whoever want you to do this. So you can only do the best you can.
Wow.
Yeah.
The university students, what do we tell them?
Wow. The university students, you would assume
somehow we think they know what they are doing.
You would assume that they're adults, aren't they?
No, some of them are taking a holiday.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
I've got a child in university as well. I mean, the university children. If you're in a university, you're an adult.
You're an adult.
Okay?
You know what to do.
You still need to push yourself. Some of them, it is more. This lockdown really is a lot of stress on the university students as well, because what they know, that social distancing, is been taken away from them. But like every other person, you still need to get yourself in the zone. go to your lectures. If they are already recorded lectures, then you have the freedom to watch it at this thing. But make sure you listen to the lesson. Make sure you do the work.
What we are saying is whether it's primary, secondary, or tertiary, you need to get down to it.
Yes.
Study. So no one is going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So that's all we can take for now about blended learning. So encourage one just for 10 seconds. What do you tell the parents?
The parents, you're doing great job. It's not easy. So while you're helping a child, also help yourself, give yourself a break, and let's try and enjoy and find a way
Enjoy the
of
moment.
coping and getting the best of this situation. We are in it together.
And also know that Jesus is in control. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Bye.
Focus Book Club is a brand which aims to bring out the best within you as well as rewarding you through it. But how exactly does it work? It'll be done in a series format. For example, the first series will be non-fiction books and the second series, fiction books, etc. Each series has 12 episodes which last 3 months, at the end of which we spend 2 more episodes to review all the recommended books, as well as to reward our faithful readers with various precious gifts. We therefore encourage you to follow us on our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or send us a text or an email. Simply comment on the book you're reading or you have read, and through commenting you have the chance to be invited to our live recording of the show during the review week. In addition to this, you will also be entered in a draw to win various prizes as a reward for your reading.